Welcome to You Mother Truckers. This week we've got a pit stop planned. Yeah, two wild flash fiction stories that'll take it on a ride. You guys asked for surprising insights and a bit of fun, and I think these tales deliver that for sure. We're diving into the unexpected, kind of where art and technology meet, and maybe with a touch of the fantastical too. So get ready for vanishing masterpieces. And a karaoke machine that comes with some royal consequences.
Yeah, that's right. We've got two very different scenarios for you today, but they both really highlight how a sudden unforeseen event can completely change how we see something, something we thought we understood.
Okay, so let's unpack this first pit stop. The Vanishing Heist. Right. Okay, picture this, right? Prestigious art gallery. The kind of place where you feel like you got a whisper, right? And suddenly all the Monet, the Rembrandts, they're just poof, gone, vanished. No broken locks, nothing. Security footage, blank screen. What do you think the initial reaction would be to something like this? Not just in the art world, but like for the city itself.
Initially, I think disbelief would be huge. Like you said, these aren't just decorations. They represent like cultural heritage. They're obviously worth a ton of money. I think the art world would be grappling with some pretty big questions, right?
Uh-huh.
About security and how you even protect these kinds of treasures. And for the city, it's almost like a symbolic loss. This void where something important used to be. Like it impacts the city's its cultural identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a piece of the city's story has been ripped out. So now we bring in Rosa, right? And her experimental art class. Their reaction isn't outrage though. It's more kind of cynical, like here we go again, another faceless corporation stealing the soul of the city kind of thing. What does that tell you about how they see the art world?
Well, it kind of suggests a deep skepticism of the art world, the business side of it at least, and maybe a feeling of being alienated from the big institutions. When they say faceless corporation, it seems like they think that the heist was all about money, or some big entity that's totally detached from the art itself. Their studio is this warehouse, with empty easels, and maybe that represents their own feeling of being pushed aside, or maybe it's a deliberate rejection of how art is usually done.
Right, right. And it's in this setting, surrounded by all this empty space meant for creating, that this almost ridiculous idea comes up, right? Invisible art.
Hmm.
On the surface, it sounds kind of counterintuitive, right? How can something invisible be art? What makes a concept like that even remotely interesting?
What's interesting is that it immediately challenges what we think art is.
Yeah.
We usually think of art as something you can touch, something physical, but with invisible art, you're forced to think about the concept, the artist's intention and how the viewer sees it. Can an idea, something you can't even see, still make you think, make you feel something? Can that still be art? It's a really interesting question.
So they have this thought-provoking, maybe kind of crazy concept, but how do they actually make invisible art right now? Especially in response to something that's so obviously gone, so visibly absent. And that's where technology comes in, surprisingly. They raid thrift stores for old AR glasses, which is pretty resourceful, if you ask me. And then there's Rosa with her coding skills, who gets to work. What's the main idea behind the tech she's using?
The basic idea is to use augmented reality, AR, to put a digital version of those stolen paintings back into the gallery, right where they used to hang. It's like creating a digital ghost of the artwork, something you can only see through these specific AR glasses. It's a clever way to use tech, not to copy the actual painting, but to bring back its image in this new way. And what's cool is they're taking this readily available, maybe even outdated tech, and using it for something totally new, something artistic and even a little bit activist.
And then comes the big moment, right? The first time they test out these cobbled together AR glasses in the empty gallery. And the reaction isn't just, oh, cool, it works. The story mentions shock and wonder, like a real visceral response.
Yeah.
What do you think caused that?
Imagine putting on those glasses, right? And suddenly these world famous paintings are right there in front of you. But they're not solid, not something you can touch. They're shimmering, almost like ghosts. It's a visual paradox. It messes with how you see reality and representation. And then you add in the detail about the invisibility spray, right? It wasn't just a theft. It was like they were deliberately trying to, to erase those paintings. And their AR art is directly fighting against that. That reveal probably made the sense of wonder even stronger, maybe even added a touch of defiance, you know?
So the gallery becomes this secret exhibition, right? Like an underground thing, only visible to those who know about it and have the right uh, slightly clunky tech. What would it be like to walk through this hidden art show? Pet us a picture.
I think it'd be really personal, almost dreamlike. You know, the story talks about brushstrokes and colors bleeding into the real world. It's like the lines between the physical and the digital are blurred. You'd be sharing this secret with a small group, seeing these famous works in a completely new way. Maybe it'd help you, connect with the art more, without the usual, hushed reverence of a gallery. And what's interesting is how your view of the gallery itself might change. You know, it's empty, but it's also full. All at that young time.
And like any good secret, word gets out, right? First to art lovers, then to critics, and then of course the media gets a hold of it. How does the story of the heist change once this response to it becomes public?
Well, I think the focus would shift, right, from the crime itself to how creative and ingenious Rosa and her students were. It's no longer a story about loss and vulnerability, but about creative resilience. It
Yeah.
becomes this powerful statement on what art is and who gets to experience it. The media would probably love the David and Goliath aspect of it all, right? A group of students taking on this huge event with such an innovative and thought-provoking response, and it makes you wonder, right? Does the value of the stolen art go down, or does it change in this new context?
And Rose's Code, this act of artistic rebellion that started in the gallery, it doesn't just stay there, right? It starts spreading, turning cities into these huge open-air invisible art museums.
Mm-hmm.
What are the bigger implications of democratizing art like this? What about the thieves? I bet they're pretty confused by now.
The implications are pretty big. It challenges who gets to control and decide what art is, right? It makes art accessible to anyone who has the tech. Suddenly, art isn't stuck in fancy spaces. It's part of the everyday city landscape. And for the thieves, they probably just wanted the money, right? But now their whole motive seems kind of pointless because the artwork, at least digitally, is everywhere. It's like their attempt to, physically steal the art accidentally made it digitally everywhere. It's pretty ironic, right? The physical paintings might be less valuable now, but their digital versions are everywhere.
So those old masters, they never go back to, back to their fancy frames. That traditional way of owning and showing art is gone. But the story ends with Rosa realizing something big about what art really is, right? What's that key insight?
Rosa realizes that art isn't just about its physical form or who owns it. It's about its ability to be seen, to connect with people and make them think. By being taken out of their usual context and reimagined through technology, the art found new ways to exist in the world. Maybe even reaching more people in unexpected places. It makes you think, doesn't it? Does making something invisible actually make it more present in our minds?
That's a really interesting point, yeah. Okay, so let's switch gears now. Our next pit stop is Karaoke Crown. We're going from, the kind of fancy world of fine art to the much more, let's say, enthusiastic world of karaoke, right?
Mhm.
We're introduced to Sarah, who's described as someone who really blends into the background with a voice barely above a whisper. What image does that bring to mind?
It makes me think of someone who doesn't want attention. Maybe she's introverted or lacks confidence. The fact that her voice is so quiet really suggests she doesn't want to be heard, literally and maybe figuratively too. It's a good setup for the big change that's about to happen. We often underestimate the people who prefer to stay in the shadows. They often have hidden potential.
And then we get that classic story element, right? The unexpected discovery in a dusty old junk shop. Sarah finds this beat up karaoke machine in the back of Mr. Johnson's, his treasure trove of forgotten stuff. But it's not just any karaoke machine, right? There's this tarnished, mysterious crown sitting on top of it, and a note that says, "Sing and claim your destiny." What would you do if you found that? Kind of feels like something out of a fairy tale, doesn't it?
Totally, yeah. It has all those, those magical realism vibes. You have the normal, everyday junk shop, and then this fantastical element with the crown and that cryptic note. It makes you feel, a sense of wonder and disbelief at the same time. Sarah probably thinks it's a joke, or maybe even cursed, right? And that's a pretty normal reaction when you find something so strange and unexpected. It shows our natural curiosity about about the unknown.
But curiosity always wins, right?
Yeah.
Hesitantly, Sarah gives the karaoke machine a try, picking, the classic karaoke anthem, Don't Stop Believing,
Mhm.
and then boom, the world changes. Everything's in Technicolor. The crown lights up and settles perfectly on her head. And Mr. Johnson just casually says, Your Majesty, suddenly it's clear this is way more than just a cool thrift store find. What's the immediate impact of this transformation?
The change is instant and huge. It affects both how Sarah sees things and the actual world around her. The Technicolor world part suggests that her senses are heightened, like everything is suddenly amazing and new. The crown landing on her head is like a transfer of power or a shift in who she is. And Mr. Johnson calling her Your Majesty confirms it's not just in her head, right? It's affecting the outside world too. And it makes you wonder, what is this destiny the note mentioned, right?
Right. Jump ahead to Monday morning at school. Sarah, who was always invisible, is now walking around with a crown on her head. What happens to her, her presence at school and the whole school environment? That sounds like a total 180.
It'd be huge, for sure. Her voice, which was once a whisper, is now booming. Everyone notices her. And the whole school environment changes to fit her new royal status. Lunchtime becomes a mandatory karaoke session. It's like the whole school's social order gets flipped on its head, all because of this magical crown. What's interesting is how easily everyone seems to accept this sudden shift in power. Maybe they're drawn to the spectacle of it all, how it disrupts the normal routine.
We see how different students react, right? Bullies turn into her backup dancers. Teachers are, tearing up over nostalgic pop songs. It's pretty funny. But how does Sarah, the new karaoke queen, feel about all this, all this attention and power?
The story shows she's got mixed feelings, right? At first, she might like the music and seeing everyone smile, but pretty soon she starts feeling overwhelmed by having to be loud in the center of attention all the time. This forced extroversion isn't really her. The crown's power was fun at first, but now it feels like like a burden. It's making her act in a way that doesn't feel true to herself, and it brings up an important question. Can real self-expression be given to you, or does it have to come from within?
And all this leads up to the school talent show, right? Sarah, as the queen, has all this pressure to put on a show-stopping performance. The audience must be so hyped.
Oh, absolutely. They've seen what the crown can do, how it's changed her. They're expecting something amazing, some incredible vocal performance. They're waiting to see the crown's magic through Sarah's voice.
But in a twist, Sarah doesn't sing some big power ballad. She takes the crown off. Silence. It's a powerful moment. Kind of defiant. What made her do that?
It's a turning point for her, a moment of self-discovery. She realizes that true worth, true self-expression isn't about other people's approval or being forced to be louder. The crown gave her a strong voice, but it wasn't her voice. She sees that everyone, even the quiet, unassuming people, have their own unique song, even if they never sing it on a big stage.
And then, and a really cool move, Sarah passes the crown on, right?
Yeah.
She picks a shy girl from the audience, puts the crown on her head, and boom, a new, maybe unexpected queen is crowned. This girl's performance isn't perfect, but it's real, and the crowd loves it. What does that tell us about talent and performing?
I think it shows that being genuine and vulnerable can be more powerful than technical perfection or trying to be charismatic. The shy girl's honest expression, maybe amplified by the crown, but really coming from her own heart, really connects with the audience. It challenges the idea that only polished performers deserve the spotlight, and shows how powerful a genuine connection can be.
And Sarah, she doesn't just fade back into the background. She finds a new way to be part of it, happy as a killer backup dancer. It's a really nice ending, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It shows that finding your place, finding your voice doesn't always mean being the center of attention. There's value in supporting others and, in contributing in different ways. Sarah finds a role where she can participate and use her energy without the pressure of being the sole focus. It makes you think, right, what kind of crown are you wearing? And is
Yeah.
it really letting is it really letting your true self shine through?
So what do you make of these two stories? One's about art, finding a new life through technology, accidentally becoming visible in this new way. The other is about finding your voice when you least expect it and realizing that, that true leadership isn't always about being in the spotlight. Both stories show how disruptions can lead to surprising and even beautiful things, like what kind of invisible art might be happening around you right now. And what's your song, Something to think about until our next pit stop here on You Mother Truckers. Rate and follow the show, You Mother Truckers, for more captivating mysteries from the world of flash fiction.